home game. It was a heck of a effort to come back and win that game. And then, you look at get a chance to play at Wrigley, and we got so many alums in Chicago area, and thought the turnout was great. I thought it was really well run, and I thought it was a great hockey game. I thought it was a game that could have went either way, and they're a tough team to play against, well coached, and even within that game, right, we jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and they tied it, and we have a lead, and they tie it late, and find a way with whatever it was, 1.4 seconds left was a memory our guys will always have, and I think our fans too, right? For all of them that turned out and showed up at the game, and so that was awesome. And now we're moving on to Penn State, and really tough team to play against in their barn, especially. I think they're a hungry hockey team. They obviously just had a big win on Sunday, and they'll be ready to go.
Adam, Tom joked about you having frostbite from refusing to wear a hat at the game, but all that is kidding aside,
Yeah.
Would an experience like that, where does that rank among hockey memories? He always talks about memory makers, and you kind of touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, that one's up there for sure. I mean, regardless of how the game went, to be able to represent Michigan State at Wrigley Field was pretty cool. And I think it was really, when you look at our conference, Big Ten Conference is a national brand, right? And so it was done really professionally, and from the network, the cameras, and all those things, the fan experience. My family got a chance to go and really enjoyed it. And but yeah, it was one I'll remember, forever.
Coach, this might be a more better question for Will, but entering the second half of the season, now we talk about the grind of the season. Just wondering how you like how the younger players are dealing with it, and do you believe in the freshman wall type of scenario? And did you have to deal with that as a freshman playing?
I don't think I necessarily. Our guys are used to playing a lot of hockey, and I sometimes I even talk to our guys about it when we talk about the grind of when we've played 20 games. That's not that many hockey games, So the grind is the practice and training for sure, and that's. But we talked even today at the end of practice, like when you talk about development, really January, February, and March are really critical, because a lot of times people take their foot off the gas, and we got to keep getting better and recruiting kids that have that mindset that it's about getting better and enjoy. You can't get bored with working at your craft, and you can't get bored with eating the right way and going to bed at the right time and doing all those things. That's how, and I really think my years of doing this, January, February, March are really critical for development. If you can stay hungry, I think you can make some hay. And we have a group of guys that understand that. We recruit guys or kids that believe in that. But in our group of freshmen, I think they've done a heck of a job. And so I do think where you probably can run into a wall is getting behind in school. So make sure you're staying up with school. Right, they've been on a break here, but that can weigh on you. Socially making good decisions, right? You want to be a hockey player, make sure your decisions line up with that. And again, we recruit kids that are wired that way, and I think our freshmen have gotten better since the beginning of the year, and I think they're going to continue to improve.
What'd you think of the gold medal game and Trey's performance?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was great. I mean, obviously, first time going back to back, and for Trey. He's had a heck of a tournament, and I think he, probably didn't love his start, but, that's what Trey does is, when it gets down to crunch time, he finds a way. I think second year in a row where I kind of felt like he was the difference maker for the team, which you need to try to win a gold medal. So really cool for our country, and, that's such a special tournament. Every youth player dreams of playing in that for Trey to get, and even Max did a heck of a job. They had a ton of new guys, and they defended quite a bit for sure, but I thought he represented our university a great way.
And with Trey coming back, obviously you normally would play series and play immediately. I'm curious, having played so many games with the World Juniors back-to-back, what's the plan to kind of work him in now? I know Luka's also played 4 straight.
Yeah. So we'll sort all that out. Like Trey got back last night and practiced today, and at the end of the day, we'll make a decision on Friday that we think gives us the best chance to win a hockey game.
Coach, looking back kind of at the Frozen Confines, every game played by every Big Ten team was super competitive, back and forth. And what does that mean to you, knowing you're playing in this conference? You were tested by Wisconsin. Penn State will be another test for you guys. And even as the top team in the country, these teams that might not be ranked or are at a lower ranking are always going to kind of test you guys a lot. And just what does that mean for your development, just being a part of this conference?
Yeah, it's huge, right? There's no nights off, and yeah, I wasn't surprised by the games are tight, and I think even you can look at the standings and say teams have not as many wins as others, but the reality is all the games are close and tight, and it's for our guys, I think too, that we don't talk much about being ranked one, but I do think for their development is really critical because you have to play your best if you want to win a hockey game, and doesn't mean it's always going to be perfect, and that's a huge thing, and I think our guys have done a good job of maintaining a level head about it, and we got to make sure we keep doing that. But yeah, we're gonna see everyone's best, but that's on the flip side is we got to make sure when we play, everyone sees our best too.
Hey, Coach, on Thursday, you're down 2, come back, and then in Chicago, they're the ones who are down. They're battling back. Do those two situations kind of play hand in hand? Do you learn from one going into the next game, kind of, knowing you were in that situation? They kind of play off each other in some way?
Yeah, no doubt. I think that that's what it's all about, right? Every time you play, you want to try to learn and grow as a team, and sometimes you're going to have a lead, and sometimes you're not, and how do you respond with those? Or if you give up a lead, how do you handle that? And the guys did a heck of a job, both sides of it, right? There's one thing to come back, but then a lot of times I think it's tougher when you have a lead, you give it up, and then to try to keep playing. It can be deflating at times, but our guys again have focused on just things they can control and learn from the past and take that next shift mentality. And these are all things you want to have in your tool bag as the year goes on. Like we still have a lot of room to improve for sure as a team, but we got some good moments throughout the season that we can lean on.
As you get back into your normal, I guess, season routine, what was the biggest takeaway from playing 4 games in 7 days with this group?
I thought they did a heck of a job. I mean, that's, had it happened during the season, I don't think it would have been as big a deal, right? We went home for 10 days and then, so really I think that tested our guys, when you go home, enjoy being with your family, but you got to take care of your body, because we told them when we left after Minnesota that the expectation is we're going to play like we did out at Minnesota, right? And so we're not going to be over your shoulder, and you got to take responsibility for it. And I was happy about the guys doing that. You could tell when they got back they were recharged, but they were pretty sharp. And but yeah, that's a lot of hockey, and but our guys want to play, right? They want to play games, and I think that was to our advantage too. It was like let's get back from break, get a few practices, and then see where we're at.
I asked a few guys about this, but I'm curious, looking at Isaac Howard, looking at Charlie Stramel, Joey Larson, some of these guys who transfer in, it's like a switch flips with them, and they immediately do very well with your team. And I'm curious, what do you think about your coaching style that enables guys to sort of have those leaps in growth?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's my style or staff's. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to get the guys to understand that this is their deal, right? And so, if you want to be a good hockey player, you can't point fingers and blame other people. You got to be better, right? And so I think all those guys were coming to us at spots that were, Joey was a little bit different. He had a really good year at Northern, and the other two had struggled a bit, right? So a lot of coaching too was getting guys at the right time, right? They were hungry and knocked down a bit, and but I respect those guys because that's the concept of if you don't remain humble, you get humbled pretty fast, and I think those guys definitely have responded to that, and I think they know that we trust them. I think they understand that we talk about a lot. It's not a perfect game. You're going to make mistakes. We have zero tolerance for effort and attitude and team play like that. You can control, but mistakes are going to happen, and we'll coach you through those. And I think high-end players respect that. They want to be pushed, they want to be coached, but also stuff's going to happen in a game, and it's how you respond.
And earlier in I think it was December, I talked to Trey about kind of his commitment process with Michigan State, and he mentioned I think he was U15, maybe with Honeybaked or something like that, and you had called him up to play with your team at the national team program. And I'm curious, can you walk me through how exactly that process played out on your end?
Yeah, I was I've known Trey in a long time, so I was coaching the under 17 team and under 18 team, and he was looking to try to make the national team. I had the 04 birth year, he was in 05, so a lot of times you bring those kids in and they practice. You could tell right away, great kid, great family, super calm in that. And we had a lot of talent on our team, and he did a heck of a job in that. He ended up making the team. We ended up making him our starter, for the World Under 18, and did a heck of a job for us. And it was the day I got the job. I just got a phone call that he's going to open up, and you're one of the schools on the list. And I give Trey a ton of credit. When he committed to us, we had just taken over. I think we were a program that had lost 13 out of 16 games in a row or whatever it was. It was for a goalie to sign up for that and to believe in what was going to happen here. That was really the first domino to fall for us to get and I think now that you look at him, I mean, Trey's a Spartan, right? He's a low maintenance guy. He's no ego. He's a team guy. Doesn't want special treatment. I hardly even know he's on the team. You know what I mean? He just comes in and does his job, and I think that's what we're looking for, you know. And so, pretty cool when you look back that he decided to, you know, trust our staff in Michigan State, and he's obviously made a big impact on our program.
Has there been, if this is a bad take, tell me, but has there been a more like Michigan prospect than Trey? I mean, he's a South Lyon kid, plays at Michigan State, was at Honeybake. Like, he hasn't really ventured outside of the state of Michigan.
Pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. That's not easy. You know, that doesn't happen very often. I think Trey understands that, right? He values having his family be a part of it, right? And values them coming and watching them and sharing his college hockey experience. But to be able to play at Honeybake and then play with the national team and then play here at Michigan State and obviously represent our country multiple times and then be a Red Wing draft pick. I mean, it's a pretty cool story. And I got a feeling he's probably not going to end up leaving the state.
Coach, back when you guys were in Madison early December, game 2, you kind of moved the lines around and you put Russ, Ike, and Charlie all up on that top line. And I think since then they've had 22 points together in just that stretch of games in the month of December and January. So what was the thought process putting those 3 specifically together, and kind of what have you really liked from that line?
I think we were looking. I think Savvy had gone to the wing, so Mikey D had played better, so he was we have a center there with him, and then Childs is a center, so in KD, so they played together a little bit before KD came back from his injury, did a really good job, and I think the combination of Russ is really consistent, right? You know what you're going to get, so he's a guy that's a dog on a bone, and he's competitive and smart, and Charlie's so long and rangy and competitive and smart and physical, and Ike's has the ability to be a game breaker. So when you're trying to design lines, that's a pretty good combination. And so they've been good for us for sure. And I think they've been good on both sides of the puck. When we do scoring chances after games, right, their line ends up being in the positive pretty heavily, and that's good for those guys in their development. You can't just be scoring. You got to bring value in other areas. If you're not scoring, what's your B game look like? And all 3 of them have done a nice job.